To survive in a competitive market, a retail owner must understand the total value of their brand equity. Part of this equation is highly visible. Quantitative financial indicators like market share, estimated profits, and commercial network density are straightforward to measure. They exist on spreadsheets. The other half of brand equity is driven by behavioral indicators. These govern how consumers actually feel and think about a brand. These indicators include metrics like consumer sympathy, trust, brand image, and the most crucial vector of all, brand awareness. While a brand's financial footprint is recorded on a ledger, its behavioral footprint exists entirely as an abstract cognitive map inside the buyer's head. Measuring something as invisible and abstract as brand awareness presents a unique problem. It requires specialized investigative methods. To solve this, we can look at a massive 2-year market research study investigating the habits of nearly 5,000 Romanian consumers. Researchers targeted one of Romania's most critical economic regions to extract precise behavioral data on major local and European retail chains. We will use this dataset as a forensic tool to reverse engineer exactly how the consumer mind categorizes retail brands. Understanding retail dominance requires looking past physical store locations. You have to mathematically map the cognitive real estate a brand owns in a buyer's mind. Marketing theorist David Aker created a framework for this space, demonstrating that brand awareness is a stratified pyramid. The bottom tier is unknown, where a consumer is completely unable to recognize a specific retail brand. Moving up, Kevin Lane Keller identified the next level as assisted awareness. This passive state means a consumer can only identify the brand when prompted by a checklist, a logo, or standing in front of the store. The third tier is active awareness, relying on spontaneous recall. It occurs when a consumer naturally thinks of a specific store before starting a shopping trip. The ultimate tier is top of mind, the dominant position where a brand is the first choice recalled from memory. The researchers tested these tiers in the field. To measure assisted awareness, they gave respondents a close-end checklist of 18 to 30 regional stores to see which they recognized. They tested spontaneous awareness using an open-ended survey, forcing respondents to name up to 6 stores entirely from memory. Deploying these two distinct survey methods allowed the researchers to mathematically separate the brands consumers simply recognize from the brands they actively rely upon. Gathering 5,000 spontaneous survey responses creates noisy, unstructured data that must be mathematically organized. The study utilized a specific weighting algorithm that accounts for the exact chronological order in which a consumer remembers a brand. A brand popping immediately into a consumer's head exerts more cognitive control. Any store written in the very first slot receives a maximum multiplier of 6. The second receives a 5, decreasing steadily until the final 6th slot awards a single point. By multiplying the absolute number of nominations by these positional scores, researchers calculated a definitive, objective power ranking. This algorithm strips away the noise, calculating exactly who owns the ultimate top-of-mind real estate. The algorithm revealed a major anomaly regarding proximity stores, the small, local neighborhood shops. These proximity units possessed the largest territorial network and the highest raw number of physical locations in the region. This chart compares their physical presence against their performance. They scored the absolute lowest in spontaneous awareness across the entire study. This establishes a clear paradox. Massive physical visibility on the street does not automatically translate into cognitive visibility in the mind. At the top of the leaderboard in the first year of the study were the cash and carry giants, specifically a retailer named Metro. Metro's initial dominance made sense. They had operated in the region for a decade, serving as the benchmark standard for modern retail. But the data revealed a dramatic shift in year 2. Cash and carry units suddenly lost their supremacy to modern hypermarkets and supermarkets. The hypermarket strategy is highly specific. These stores require large parking lots and are pushed to the periphery of the city, yet they still achieved massive active recall. They overcame their distant locations by running intense communication campaigns and offering a highly stimulating new shopping experience. The year 2 data proves that a brand can overwrite a legacy competitor's cognitive dominance by substituting physical proximity with psychological intensity. We can probe the limits of assisted awareness by examining the Year 2 checklist data, specifically looking at the 4 hypermarkets. While most hypermarkets saw huge growth when prompted by the checklist, the brand Auchan drastically underperformed against its potential limit. Researchers traced this statistical drag to Auchan's physical location inside a massive shopping center called Iulius Mall. This illustrates a psychological concept warned about by Keller, known as cognitive overlap. The overarching mall's identity effectively hijacked the hypermarket's brand. The practical result was that when shoppers thought about buying food, their brain bypassed the hypermarket entirely and recalled the mall instead. If a retail brand fails to establish its own distinct emotional boundaries, it becomes completely subservient to the physical context surrounding it. Revisiting Aker's awareness pyramid makes the objective clear. The ultimate goal of any brand is to systematically engineer its way to the top. Legacy status and time spent in a market offer no guaranteed shields against aggressive new retail formats. Furthermore, relying on a massive physical network of traditional storefronts simply cannot compete with highly targeted experiential marketing. Brand equity must be actively managed and quantified through rigorous behavioral metrics to accurately track market position. Retail dominance is not won on the street corners. It is won through the deliberate mathematical conquest of the consumer's active recall.